Well, thank you all, and thank the Tennessee Concrete Association for having me here. And I want to make this very interactive. I've sat through several of the Zoom meetings. It seems like everybody just read off the presentation, and that's just not what I'm here for. I want to make it more like a family, like we're sitting here at a table with discussion. I have asked Andy Horgan, who works for NUDURA, to join me here on this presentation. He has been doing ICF for probably 25 years or more, and works a lot in the commercial realm. I basically work in the business development, mainly working in the K through 12 market, federal market, higher education, and different commercial realms. And I've asked Joe Waters to talk on one slide about a new law that was just passed in the state of Mississippi. That I think that we want to look at this and getting this passed in other states. So feel free to ask me questions anytime through the presentation. And I don't even really care if I get through the presentation. It's more about answering your all's questions. Just to give you a little outline, just basically introduction by ICFs, what are ICFs, envelope performance, design integration, ICF construction process, and project case studies. Now, what is an ICF? Do most of you all know what insulated concrete forms are? Yeah, it's basically an EPS form that is basically a concrete form that you're pouring concrete in, except that the EPS is staying in place, and that actually makes your insulation. Different types of
meeting ID followed by pound.
Different types of form that's out in the market. You have a site assembled form, and probably 90% of the forms out in the market is a site assembled form. You have a
enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue.
Hey, Martin, you're muted.
All right. I'm okay now? Okay. All right. All right. Well, just kind of a little back forward a little bit here as far as the insulated concrete forms. It's a concrete form that stays in place, that you pour concrete in the middle. It's put together by two EPS form panels. You have a site assembled form, and with this site assembled form, it basically comes to the site, and it's usually about 4 foot long and 60 inches tall. You have a form that is put together on the job site with webs that you just take the two panels, slide the webs in, and that makes the form. NUDURA is considered a third generation form. It's 8 foot long and 18 inches tall, and it's fully collapsible, so you can ship more material. When we talk about ICFs, you'll hear people talk about 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch. That is the concrete core thickness. And then your EPS foam on both sides is 2 5/8 inches. you know, and all manufacturers has these types of forms. You have your straight forms, you have your corners, you have T-forms, your brick ledge forms, 90 degrees, radiuses. Now, we have a lot of architects that just use our forms just for the radiuses because you can actually pre-cut these on a CNC machine, and then you eliminate a lot of waste and a lot of labor here with it. And one of the forms that most ICF manufacturers have is what we call 1 series. That is a form that you can have insulation on one side and concrete on the other side. That is actually a ply pan panel that can be snapped off and reused. You will see this product used mainly for elevator shafts for your hotels. You'll see it be used for stairwells. Now we're seeing architects use it for some interior design to where they want just a concrete look with it. This is where I think the ICFs shine, is by the building envelope. You know, what an ICF does, it combines 7 different building steps in one. It's their structural reinforced concrete, a wall. You have your continuous air barrier. You have your continuous insulation, which equals up to an R23, and we can do a wall up to an R48 with thicker insulation. It is its own vapor barrier. A 6-inch wall system has a 4-hour fire rating. And then you have your interior and exterior attachment studs with inside the EPS foam. And then you have, with this system here, it gives you a wall system of a STC 50, and we can get up to an STC 72. So this is why I think that we are very, very competitive in the commercial market here because of all the different steps that we bring with one product here. So I don't know if there's any architects on the call here. You know, when you're looking at a steel structure or even a wood structure, you know, you look at all the different building components and goes into this building, this wall assembly. So, you know, look at how many steps that you're saving here with the ICF building envelope. I work a lot with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they will tell you this is probably one of their most they call it idiot-proof envelopes, just because of the concrete and the EPS insulation on both sides. So it eliminates any type of air infiltrations.
Martin, I just wanted to let everybody know, if you are not in the group chat, they're kind of throwing out some good info in there too. So kind of building on what Martin's saying. So make sure and check that out. It's at the bottom. It should be at the bottom somewhere for you to be able to click on that and join that as well.
Okay, I was trying to see where that's at here.
Kind of hover around the bottom. It says chat, and you click on that so everybody knows where it is. And like Andy has said some things, and Frank and Jonathan, so.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that chat on my computer here.
You may have a different setup. If you hover around the bottom, it should kind of pop up for you. But they're just adding to what you said, so no big deal.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that on mine. at all. I don't know if it's just a different setup or what, but I'm not seeing that. Let me try up here and see. I am not seeing
Martin, if something comes up that we need to throw at you, we'll interrupt.
Holler at you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Okay. All right. As far as the, this is why that I think, I don't believe you can give me a building today that has to be heated and cooled, that I won't be very competitive in the first, as far as the lower first cost, due to all the different steps that we have in the building envelope here. And we don't get very far if we're not competitive in cost when it comes to talking to an owner. So when it comes to just the first cost of a building, when it has to be heated and cooled, I feel like we're very competitive in that market today. Another big savings as far as cost of ownership is the energy savings. We're getting between, just with the ICF walls itself, between a 15 to 20% lower cost as far as their energy savings, quicker build time. So from a owner standpoint, like these hotels that we're doing, we're completing them in usually about 30 to 45 days ahead of schedule. So that is a quicker return on their money there. And that's why we are doing hotels literally all over the country right now. One of the comments I get from a general contractor is as far as weather delays with the ICF, and since it's insulated on both sides, we literally can pour concrete. If you can get the concrete there, we can pour concrete at any time. We do a lot of work down in Florida, and because of pop-up thunderstorms, with rain, with this here, with the ICF, you can keep on building. You don't have to wait for delay as far as the CMU or drying out and things. So, and then reductions in subs. One of our larger school contractors, what it's done for him, it's reduced his schedule, and he only has one sub to deal with when it comes to the building envelope. Lower cost of ownership. I work a lot in the school market, and you'll see photos of the schools. This one school district in Warren County, since they started building ICF and doing other high performance features as far as insulation, as far as the roof and different things, this school district has saves over $1 million a year in their utilities alone. As far as your LEED and sustainability, I don't believe there's a product out here that will help jumpstart a LEED building any quicker than ICF because of the recycled material, the energy performance of our wall system. And now, and I am just not that familiar in it, but we just got our Declare label for working with any types of buildings when it has to do with the living building challenge. Structural design flexibility. I think there's some structural engineers on this. When you're looking at designing, this is just basically a concrete wall. So you don't design it any difference. You just design it just like it's a normal concrete wall. As far as the ICF installers, I have been in this for a little over 20 years. And if you'd have first asked me, do we have enough installers to build with ICF, and especially in the commercial market, I would have told you no. But now we're literally building all over the all over the world, basically. And, we have a very competitive market when it comes to bidding the ICF work. And also through this, we do a lot of training to train masons, concrete contractors in the ICF business. It's a very simple wall assembly, as I was showing you in that one slide there with the 7 different steps. You just bring so many different things together in one with the ICF. And as far as a robust wall assembly, and actually I'm going to get Andy to talk about this here a little later on with the new ICC 500 standard as far as building storm shelters for schools, government buildings, and different structures. And then as far as as a hardened structure, as far as the Department of Defense. This is something that I think all the ICF manufacturers has really improved in, that we didn't have several years ago with it. Now, most ICF manufacturers, are out here training the owners, the CMs, the A&Es, and we have more design partners that we work with. We have the BIM, CAD. It's just, we have a lot more technical people out here that can work with a design build contractor, architect, or engineer. As I was talking about this, it's just basically a concrete wall assembly. And, we have different from CAD designs to BIM modeling. Andy is actually an architect that works with us, that basically if there's a design detail that you need, we can provide. I know Frank Gordon is on the call. He's has designed many ICF projects, and he's now with the National Ready Mix Association. So, and he can help you with any design details or features that we didn't have that. I'm going to say 14 or 15 years ago, and it's really changed, I would say, in the last 5 to 6 years. This is just some other details as far as lintel details, or as above a window, and the different rebar placement of your rebar in the wall as you're building the wall system. As far as all the code compliances, this is something that you want to ask all your the ICF manufacturers to make sure that they meet these different requirements as far as your ASTM standards and things. Is here with the, one of the things you really want to check to make sure they have the NFPA 285 test as far as the wall assembly, as far as multi-story buildings. Here, another key questions you want to ask, you want to make sure that they have a UL FAR rating. So these are questions that you want to ask the different ICF manufacturers if they meet these type of specifications. As I was talking earlier a little bit about as far as if you had a project as far as LEED, I don't believe there is a product out here that would help jumpstart a LEED building any quicker than the ICF. As far as the seismic and wind resistant, and I know there's been several tornadoes in in Nashville here this spring, and they're in Mississippi, and you have the different hurricanes, and you can see the homes here, especially the one that has really been highlighted there in Mexico Beach, there that you see basically very little damage to that, and then the beach is basically destroyed there. And we've got the testing from Texas Tech, and I'm just going to show you a quick video here, real quick here. And I'll tell you a little example. A couple of years ago, I got a call from the facility director of Oldham County Schools, and they had a car hit the ICF school. They estimated the car hit it a little bit over 50 miles an hour. So when the facility director got there, he was expecting quite a bit of damage. Well, the only damage was that it pushed in the brick, and on the other side of the wall, there was a bookcase, and it jarred a wall enough that it knocked over the bookcase. But other than that, you know, the wall was, you know, the concrete wall was still stable. It was still there. And the facility director told me, he said, you know what, if this has been any other type of building, it would have went through the building, and it had a lot more damage to do. So they had very little damage to it. And this is something that I kind of take to heart right here, as far as, you know, I believe that every home, especially any new home is built, that they should have a storm shelter in it. And the reason I take it to heart is that I had 3 friends that was killed in a tornado, and they just didn't have no place to go. And you will see up there at the top there, that lady standing outside there, and that was actually in Mississippi this year. And Joe Waters had sent me the picture of there, and you look at their home, and they bought this home just because they had a storm shelter. So, you know, the family was in that home, and they were saved, and there wasn't any loss of life there. And if it hadn't been for that storm shelter, you know, they probably wouldn't have been here today either. So I think it's something as an association that we need to get more involved in promoting ICFs for a storm shelter for homes. You know, it'd be very easily to put a small storm shelter on a slab home, or usually if you've got a basement, you can put it right underneath the porch, and it's you know, it's not a lot of cost to do that to save a person's life. And here's a little video thing that we have made up here on an automated here for a storm shelter, and we're actually looking at possibly pre-packaging storm shelters that we could sell to builders. And I think it is a very neat way to introduce ICFs to a builder that doesn't want to build a complete home out of ICF. This way they can build a little safe room and get them familiar with the ICF. And I'm going to get Andy Horgan to talk about this because Andy has been working working with designs, especially in Texas. I think now we've done over 40 or 50 storm shelters to meet the ICC 500. So Andy, if you don't mind, I'm going to let you take it over here.
Sure. Afternoon, everybody. I don't know how many of you are familiar with ICC 500, but Martin, if you flick back one slide, I'll just kind of explain how that grew out, that standard grew out of some, So here you've got, the slide shows the kind of hierarchy, well not hierarchy, but how ICC 500 developed out of some FEMA standards that were introduced back in 2000s, actually just slightly before 2000. Basically, after some hurricane events in Oklahoma and in what we traditionally call Tornado Alley, FEMA introduced some standards to design storm shelters for small communities and residential. And so that standard, FEMA 361 and I think it's 360, developed into what we now know as ICC 500. ICC 500 is basically a design criteria for designing storm shelters, primarily for occupancy E buildings. And so K-12 schools would be a typical occupancy class that you have to now provide an ICC storm shelter. Either the building is designed to that standard or a part of the building. So typically for a school, we see either a gymnasium or a similar larger kind of area of a school building that is designed to withstand 250-mile-an-hour wind loads. This is a criteria that was introduced into the code in 2015 with limited adoption, by the states, but now we're seeing more and more states adopting it: Texas, Oklahoma, I think Kentucky, and this standard is also being pushed for the coastal regions, again from the Gulf all the way up to the Virginia, North Carolina borderline. If you see that red zone there, that's basically the zone where this is applicable. That's the 250 mile-an-hour wind load. And if you look, I mean, it stretches apart, across, a good part of the U.S. The dotted line that you see along the coast there is kind of the next area that the codes are going to kind of focus on to introduce this 250 mile-an-hour wind load. And so to design a structure, a roof to stay on to a building for those kind of wind loads, it's a pretty significant load, that you're applying to any of those connection details. And so for most structural engineers, they will not have counted this type of design to these wind loads unless they've worked in maybe the Caribbean or seismic zones as well, where they've got outplane movement they're designing for. But this is something is catching a number of kind of A&E firms that we work with around the country by surprise, because they're finding that when they're applying for permits for some of their projects, this requirement has been introduced into the codes, and they may have had a project that's been in design for a couple of years, may have been put on the back burner, and now they're finding that they've got to meet this requirement. So this is something that you should kind of try and do some research on, and just make sure that if you're designing, particularly in this occupancy E criteria, any buildings, then you need to just make sure that you're meeting this requirement. There's a list there on the slide that kind of shows some of these occupancy criteria and buildings that fall inside that occupancy E.
And this next slide here, I've actually asked Joe Waters to talk about this. This is something that the National Ready Mix Association has worked with the Mississippi Concrete Association, and NUDURA ICF has worked with them, and Fortified Housing has worked with getting this law passed, a bill passed that will give deductions in if a person builds to this fortification standard in residential and now in commercial. And Joel, if you don't mind, I would like you to talk a little bit about this bill that's been passed. And I think it's something that as associations, we need to look at getting this in the other states. Joe?
Joel, we can't hear you. You might have to pull those out. Try again.
Hello?
There you are. All righty.
Okay.
Hey, Joel.
All right. Yeah. All right. Joel, if you don't mind, I would like you to comment on this this new bill that was passed in Mississippi.
That was you, Martin, that we were hearing. Joel, we still can't hear you. It says your microphone is on, but I'm not sure. Are your headphones still plugged in? Maybe pull them out. You might want to go down to the bottom and try your settings too for audio, down where it says stop video. Click on that and you'll be able to click settings and audio, and that might help you get there. There's a little button, there's a button that says join audio by computer. Did you find the settings? Martin, do you want to maybe start talking about it, and I can call Joel and we can talk about it and see if we can get that going for him.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a bill that we had been working with the state of Mississippi, and like I say, we've been working with the National Ready Mix Association. And what this is the IBH, International Building Home Safety and Fortified Safer Living, had come up with a program for that if a person built their home this way, they would get a discount on their homeowner's insurance. And in some areas, that is as much as a 40% discount. This bill now that has been passed in the state of Mississippi, and the state of Mississippi is the first people to pass this bill, is that now they have this for commercial buildings. So if you was to take, in some states where the schools have to do their own insurance instead of self-insuring, or say a hotel owner, if they build to this standard, they can get a discount on their insurance policy, and it can add up to several dollars. So what the reason I had asked Joel to talk about this is that I think this is something that we as an association should start working with our different state legislators and take this bill here and duplicate it in the other states. And what this does for us is that, you know, that is going to sell more concrete. because when you get the building to a fortified standard, the way the guidelines is, a concrete building, ICFs become very, very competitive in the cost with it. And I don't guess we was able to get Joel on.
We're trying hard, but I don't know if we're going to be able to. He's on
Okay.
there, but his microphone's just not working right.
Okay, all right, well, I'll just go on here, and then if Joel can come on later, that'll be fine. Yeah, now my computer is locked completely up. This is, here is a school that was built in Bowling Green here. I just want to go through a construction process of a school that was built in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, basically, we're just starting out with a strip footer. Normally, they will come and put two courses, usually around. Here they're cutting out for a window. They're snapping the rebar in place. This is your alignment system as they're building the wall. Here they're cutting out for a embed. You internally vibrate this wall like you would any other type of wall system. These are vibrator pockets underneath for a window seal to make sure that we got good consolidation. And you can see them welded up against that foam there, attached for brick ties. Here they're cutting out for the electrical. And after it's finished, you know, it looks no different from any other building. The only difference is you have a wider window sill. And, you know, this is showing the same thing as the video. After the walls are poured, they're coming in and cutting out for the electrical. If they have any penetrations to put through the wall, The mechanical contractors will mark the penetrations, and usually the ICF installers will put the penetrations in before it's poured. Different types of wall assembly, door and windows assemblies. You have a hollow metal frame. One of the frames that a lot of people use this for heavier commercial is a Stala, hollow metal frame. And they also make a hollow metal frame for the FEMA door here. And then the other products, you see a wood product there. That's a pre-buck product. That is, when you pour it into the wall, you'll see the dovetails on the back there. It's all anchored into the concrete there. And you have some foam insulation bucking for your different windows and doors. So there's different types of products out there that now you can use for different types of situations. As far as your drywall, one of the interesting things that we learned about in the drywall on our first school is that since we dealt with a solid monolithic wall, that drywall could end anywhere it wanted. It didn't actually have to end at a stud. They could take and put some foam adhesive there and glue there where the seam's at. You know, when you're looking at ICF, any type of finishes that you put on any other type of building, you can put on a ICF building there. Of course, brick, tile, stucco, metal panels, curtain walls, hardy plank. So anything you would put on any other type of building, you could put on a ICF building. These are the different sectors that we work in. And I would say that K-12 is probably our premier sector that we work in. And I've just got some different projects here. I'm going to go through them pretty quick here. This is the Richardsville Elementary School. And this is the first net zero school in the nation. We probably have given now a good 200, it's probably been over 200 people has gone through this school, over 200 tours. Since the completion of this building, this school has not had a utility bill. They usually get a check back between $30,000 to $50,000 a year. And when you take an average school, their average utilities runs about $7,000 a month for a K through 12. And so you take that savings plus getting a check back at the end of the year, that can go a long ways as far as putting back into the education of the students. This is just some other schools that we have done in different parts of the country here. This is in Beaver Creek, Ohio, and you can look at all the different finishes. They chose to do the exterior and interior walls ICF. This is a really cool project in Greenwich, Connecticut, and you know, you can see you can still add all the daylighting you want with the ICF here.
That's a beautiful school too.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah.
Really beautiful.
And this is the Barclay Elementary School, and that's a pretty interesting story behind this. Behind this school, they actually built two schools basically at the same time within about 3 to 4 blocks of each other on the same base, and they had to meet certain energy standards when they built these schools, and the other one was built with CMU and metal studs with foam insulation. And when they bid, the ICF school came a little over $1 million under the other school that was just bid right down the road. So the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers studied the energy consumption of both of these schools, And after they did the study, the report is that over a period of 20 years, that the ICF school over the other one would save a total of about $3 million in utilities alone. So there's a pretty neat case study on this, on these schools. And actually, we have another school out to bid right now at Fort Campbell here using ICF. It's just showing you some other schools that we're building in Ohio. Andy was really involved with this one here in Santa Rosa Beach and in Florida. You know, you can see just all different types of designs. And as I was saying, we have now started the new school in Mexico Beach that got destroyed by the hurricane. This is another school that we've built here in Pensacola, Florida. Higher education, we do a lot of dorms, and we do a lot of public partnership just because of the cost of the building and the speed of the building. This is Eastern Kentucky University. We now have done a total of 3 dorms with EKU. Transylvania University here, you know, these more colonial type look dorms. We have replaced 3 dorms for them here over the last few years. And this is some student housing. This is all private partnership money here where they're actually leasing these out here. And, you know, it's all about the cost. And here on building out of ICF versus other types of construction. And, you know, I never thought we would be doing buildings like this here. You know, you still have all the glazing, but it's a fully structural insulated concrete form building.
Mark, we might want to open it up to some questions as you go through the rest of them too. I don't know if people are having some and maybe want to ask, or just want to make sure that we ask people, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute, feel free, and speak right up as he's going through. You can keep going, just in case people are wondering.
Okay. You know, we do a lot of fire departments now here throughout the country, especially now with the new ICC 500 standard, as far as building the emergency operation center, because you know that you know, it's bad enough when a tornado or hurricane hits an area and with the housing, but you know, you need that emergency operation center in operating here. So why not build it to a fortified standard? This is a storm shelter that has been built there in Mississippi. This is in San Antonio, Texas. So it just shows you all different types of buildings, and you can still use a lot of glazing here. This has a 9/11 center inside of it here. These are the different federal projects that we've done literally throughout the world here. This Schofield Barracks was one of the first barracks that was built out of ICF. and Catherine Hammock, with the Assistant Secretary of the Army, had told us this is one of the best performing buildings that they had in the military. Officer Training Center here in Newport, Rhode Island. Paris Readiness Center. And this was a really cool project over in Djibouti, Africa here. And actually we're doing a project right now over in Cuba for the military. Just showing you some different projects that we've been involved with. Multifamily buildings, basically, we're building, there's a lot of multifamily buildings that's being built in the Nashville area. And here's some that we're building in New York. In Bronx. This is in Waterloo, Canada. Hospitality. It's the Hilton Garden Inn. Like I say, we are doing several ICF hotels, basically because of the speed of construction and the cost of the building. This is the Spring Hill Suite. And this is the Best Western that we're doing there in Antioch, Tennessee, and it's still under construction. It's 56,000 square feet. The installer that is installed that they were doing a floor every 5 days with this.
It's a hard.
And
No, we'll blame it on him.
and we're actually we're actually going to be doing another one in Nashville here in the next few months with this group here. This is just the different types of commercial buildings throughout the country that we're doing. Banks, we do banks, Wells Fargo banks, one of the things that they're saying is that, this is one of the only products that they can take anywhere in the country and meet all the energy performances and wind loads. Applebee's, we're doing several different restaurants now here, and basically it has to do with the speed of construction to get it up quick. Our gas stations, we have a little over 200 of these to do throughout. And first, it was about the speed of construction. The installer that is doing this, he is doing the footers, all the ICF walls, getting it ready for a roof in 9 days with it. One of the things the 5-star is finding out is how much energy they're actually saving by doing the ICF. I really didn't expect to have the energy savings that they're having because of all the glazing and people going in and out, but they're having a fairly good amount in energy savings. This is a office building. What I like about the office building here is you can see with all the glazing, and this has the granite panels finished. So, it just doesn't have to be just a plain brick type building.
Hey, Martin.
Yes, sir.
Well, you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, Joe.
Yeah, sorry. We communication sometimes in Mississippi is 2 cans and a string. So when you circle back around, I'm gonna put myself on mute and just wait for you. Okay.
Okay, I can actually go back to Bill and let you talk about it.
Sure, sure.
Or if you want to, it'll take me a few minutes, but if you want to
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
okay.
Just let me know when you get there. Anyway, what I was going to say to you is we started this journey in Mississippi, and I promised Alan I would not be any longer than 30 minutes, so I'll try to make it to that time. Just kidding, of course. We started this journey back in 2005 during Hurricane Katrina, and around 2012 we developed new building standards. Governor Haley Barbour down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for five counties that border the coast. 2012, like I said, they redeveloped some fortified building through the IBHS and Smart Home America. In 2016, John Lawyer within our MCA and Michael Wyman within our MCA and myself and our lobbyist, Steve Corbett, met with the insurance commissioner, Mike Cheney, and we said, you know, wouldn't it be great if we took this building code that we have on the coast and made it statewide, because we, like Tennessee, has a lot of tornadoes. And so consequently, that was in 2016. In July 1st of 2018, we were successful in getting new single-family dwelling built to the IBHS fortified standard. You get an insurance discount. Then we kind of let the dust settle, and about a couple of months after that, we started talking to the insurance commissioner and saying to him, let's consider taking a look at doing commercial. Of course, we had a lot of stakeholders. We had about 8 or 9 different groups that we had to make sure that the language was correct for them. But we, in our MCA, was big into that. NUDURA was a great partner in helping us with that. Smart Home America, IBHS, and of course, we work very closely with the insurance commissioner and of course the House of Representatives and the Senate in Mississippi. Last week, Governor Tate Reeves signed Senate Bill 2709 into law for Mississippi, which means July 1st it took effect, but the insurance companies have until July 1st of 2021 to file their rates through the Insurance Commission. So we believe that it's going to make some marked improvements in building. We believe it's going to have an impact on that. It'll be another arrow in the quiver, if you will, for Mississippi economic development. Insurance companies, I think the key to it is they see this now as building better is a better investment for them as well, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. And so now we've got something to build off of. And really what we've done is we still got a long way to go in Mississippi. We've got to educate the building code officials, even the insurance companies themselves, the contractors, the architects, all the stakeholders in there. We've got a long way to go toward educating them, but we've already started, and we're real excited at that opportunity. That's pretty much it. It is a long process, and it's something that your association will make a commitment to. And like I said, it took us about 3.5, 4 years in Mississippi.
Well, Joel, thank you for your comments here. And I think it's something that we all need to work toward.
Do we have any questions right now for Joel or for Martin or Andy or Frank or any of the people that are here on the meeting? Anybody? Anybody?
I always have questions, Donna, but if I'll let a few others go. I've kind of dominated the chat room. So
Oh, that's
someone else
okay.
will go
No,
before
listen,
I ask.
it's all good. Go ahead and ask your question if you have one. No big deal at all.
Okay, so just one of my questions, and I don't, you don't necessarily have it right now, but you know, as far as your typical building standards, say for like a commercial, the difference between a block, cast in place, tilt up walls, and doing an ICF. What are kind of the from a structural standpoint and in kind of a cost savings, like where would you kind of rank the ICF compared to some of the other walls?
You know, I will answer part of that, and I would like actually Andy Horgan to step in to that also. When it comes to, I'm just going to say Kentucky, because this is where I live at. When we're comparing a ICF wall to the CMU walls compared to a school, and that even includes putting the drywall on there. You know, we're usually at the same cost as traditional masonry, if not even a little less. We had a cost comparison that Turner Construction that we went up against on it was actually an insulated tilt-up panel there, and we were actually right at about $1 a square foot less on cost with it. And I think it has a lot to do with, you know, we just bring so many different building components there in one, and we have a lot less labor usually on the job site.
What about like durability of the wall for, you know, as long term and you know, a structure like you said, you had a car hit it and it stood up, but is, you know, an example, you know, what, you know, like what would it have done to some of the other walls? It's just as far as in comparison.
Yeah, let me take that. So this is Andy. So, I mean, basically you've got a reinforced concrete wall. It's just designed to ACA 318. You know, we can design in every, you know, buildings in every seismic zone. We do a lot of military work, including blast walls, you know, that are 24 inches wide. So you know, the structural strength is based on the concrete. Durability, again, you know, concrete's going to outlast any kind of, you know, wood frame structure, steel frame structure. To go back to the question about cost, I mean, up and down the East Coast, we consistently see 6-inch, 8-inch ICF costs between $1,650 to $1,850 a square foot. That's installed. So that's the labor, the material, you know, the concrete, rebar, everything to install the wall. And that's generally pretty competitive against any wall system except just 2x4, you know, studs. And so if you're looking to compare the cost of ICF, it's kind of important to look at not just the cost of the system, but also the performance that you're getting. Because if you're trying to design a high performance wall system, then generally the cost of whether it's structural steel, steel stud, masonry, steel stud infill, you know, you've got to increase the cost of those wall assemblies to reach that high performance standard. As Martin mentioned earlier, one of the things that ICF does bring, you know, to, you know, the stakeholders, whether you're the owner, the architect, the GC, CM, is that risk mitigation, because now you've got one sub that is responsible for delivering the wall assembly. And so where you would have, you know, 4 or 5 subcontractors that have got to perform scope to deliver that finished wall, you've got 4 or 5, you know, opportunities for somebody to fail and you have an envelope that's not performing, or a wall assembly that's not performing as it was designed to. So there's a number of factors, but generally, as I said, up and down the East Coast, we're very competitive. When we go to the West Coast, the cost is generally higher, but the cost for everything is generally higher on the West Coast. We do a lot of prevailing wage jobs, whether that's government or whether it's in unionized locations, and again, we're very competitive, in projects that are either prevailing wage or unionized labor, and it's generally because we're building quicker than the systems that we're comparing against. One of the things, the benefits that you get with the ICF is being able to obviously use it as the structural wall. So, when we're comparing against, say, a building that is structural steel and either block or stud infill, the fact that you can eliminate the majority of the columns, spandrel steel on the perimeter, is kind of the big kind of cost savings, when you compare it with ICF, because generally about 40 to 50% of the columns in the building are on the perimeter. And so if you can, use the ICF structurally, where you're, bearing the roof trusses, floor system, that's where you pick up cost savings when you're doing those cost comparisons.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? I think our time has run out. I really want to thank Martin so much, and Andy for coming together with us. Joel for, bless his heart, with all the technology issues. I feel sorry for him. But we really appreciate you showing up too. And all of our sponsors that made today possible. We really want to thank them. And don't forget, we have on the 23rd of July, we have that 1099 and contract issues, contractor issues with labor. So please join us for that. That'll be at 1:30 again here in Zoom, and we'll send out some information to you about that. Are there any other questions or anything else? Nope. Bye, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Good to see you all.